in his hospital bed. Of course, the requisite traffic accidents and power outages. A fist fight in a grocery store over the last carton of milk. Some looting, a collapsed roof, a destroyed greenhouse. Mostly, though, the eerie silence that accompanies so much snow and the inevitable camaraderie from enduring an out-of-the-ordinary event. A return to kindness, Lewis thought. The simplicity of survival. He had missed the snow. He was 24, attractive yet baby-faced, unmarried and without children. Still a boy in some ways, even though he carried a baton and a gun. He got a little thrill when he told people what he did for a living. "So young," they said, and he wanted to say, "Do you think I haven't paid my dues? Do you think I don't deserve it?" He wondered when he would stop being young, when he would cease to be the baby of the department, when all the joshing, the incessant joking around about his boyish looks would stop. He felt himself to be a deeply earnest person, a good person. Even as a boy, he had a knack for reading people, a skill he attributed to his father, who was crazy in an invisible, functional way, so that Lewis had spent much of his life trying to piece together what had made his childhood so fraught, and why as a child he had been so nervous and unhappy. His mother had died so long ago that he had almost no memories of her. But there was an uncle he planned to contact someday who he hoped could provide answers. But Lewis hadn't gotten around to it yet. It seemed like such a huge undertaking to go after the truth like that. It was snowing again. It had been snowing all day, and the forest was silent except for Lewis's footfalls and the heavy panting of the dog. The dog pulled hard on the leash, and Lewis had to brace himself on a tree trunk so he wouldn't spill forward. "Whoa, boy," he said, then again more forcefully, snapping the leash a bit. But the dog was unrelenting and led him off the trail and into the woods. The snow fogged his glasses, and Lewis could taste it on his lips, metallic and cold. He hoped he wasn't about to uncover some grisly scene, though he did feel something bubbling up within him, something like excitement. He looked behind him, trying to memorize his way back to the trail. Squire Point was a confusing place. There were 2 parking lots with trailheads. Both led to a large reservoir with a swimming hole that locals called the lake. The second trail cut through a small campground. The trails were unmarked, and it was easy to go in circles. People often got lost, but all were usually found within a few hours. There were only so many ways a person could go. "Vera Gusev? Hello? Why come out here in such bad conditions? Why not stay home?" The dog leapt over a fallen tree, and Lewis scrambled over it, caught his pant leg on a branch. He felt the snow creep into his socks, cold water between his toes. His hands burned. He passed the abandoned campground, and then he and the dog were standing at the edge of the lake, frozen over and covered with a dusting of snow. The dog whined and pulled against the leash, wanting to go out onto the ice. No, he said to the dog. "Bad idea." Although the snow was falling fast, Lewis thought he could make out a trail of footprints on the ice. He squinted, snow in his eyelashes. Nothing. The footprints were gone. He hoped Vera and the boy hadn't wandered onto the ice. People thought frozen lakes were stable, and they walked out onto them. People did this sort of thing all the time. They drove snowmobiles and trucks onto lakes. Lewis had done this as a boy every winter, in his father's red pickup truck on Lake Mendota. Even there, 2 or 3 people fell in every year, fishermen mostly, their bodies pulled out, sometimes alive, sometimes not, covered in icicles. That was the trouble with frozen lakes. There was no way to tell the thickness of the ice, nor the depth of the water beneath. "Okay, boy," Lewis said to the dog, and the dog sat obediently by Lewis's side. The snow stopped, as if someone had flicked a switch. Now that the sky had cleared, Lewis could see the great iced-over expanse of the lake, a pale blue color like a wolf's eye, and the bright swatches of beach sand that lay below the ice, looking almost tropical despite the cold. A bird loitered on a branch, repeating its song. Lewis put his hand on top of the dog's warm head.